Okay, so you're thinking about a career as like a heating and ventilation service engineer.
Ah,
It's more than just fixing air conditioners, right? It's way more than that.
yeah,
It's a field that's like crucial to how our world runs.
it is.
It's keeping hospitals running and making sure that we can get, those chocolate cravings satisfied at like midnight.
Absolutely.
Those factories are churning out treats 24/7.
That's right.
So let's dive into these RoleCatcher excerpts and uncover what really makes this career tick.
You are totally right when you say it's crucial. If you think about it, without proper heating and ventilation, critical industries would literally stop.
Yeah.
They would completely grind to a halt. We're talking about, precision manufacturing, food processing, data centers that power the internet.
Mhm.
It's all about maintaining these environments that are not just comfortable,
Yeah.
but absolutely crucial for success.
It's like the unsung hero of like infrastructure. We
Yeah.
see these sleek products,
Yeah.
the perfectly temperature controlled buildings, but we never think about all the expertise that goes on behind the scenes.
Right.
The guide mentions specifically industrial settings,
Right.
and it talks about, setting up furnaces, thermostats, ducts, vents, and other types of equipment. That sounds pretty hands-on.
It is incredibly hands-on.
Yeah.
And it requires a really deep understanding of complex systems.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we're not talking about just your average thermostat here. We're thinking about calibrating a system to maintain precise temperatures and humidity levels for sensitive electronics manufacturing, or ensuring proper airflow in a pharmaceutical clean room, for example.
Wow. The stakes are way higher than I initially thought.
They are.
It's not just about keeping people comfortable, it's about protecting equipment and products, and in some cases, even lives.
Yes.
The guide also mentions hazards and uncomfortable spaces.
Well-
Like, how uncomfortable are we talking? Are we talking crawling through ventilation shafts in the middle of July? Uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's definitely a part of it. Um, just imagine this. Let's say there's a malfunctioning heating system in a high-rise office building in the dead of winter. You get called in to figure out what the problem is. And it turns out to be a faulty valve
Oh, no.
that's located on the roof.
Oh.
You're battling freezing temperatures, wind, maybe even icy conditions, all to make that repair.
Okay, that's a mental image.
Yeah.
So you need to be brave,
Yeah,
resourceful, and maybe have a really good pair of like thermal underwear to be in this field.
for sure.
So what kind of person thrives in that environment? What are some essential skills and personality traits for a heating and ventilation service engineer?
Well, I mean, besides a good sense of humor
Mhm.
and a love for all things HVAC,
Mhm.
you definitely need to be a problem solver.
Right.
Things rarely go according to plan.
Mhm.
So you need to be able to think on your feet and improvise. It's actually a lot like being a detective, but instead of clues, you're following air ducts and electrical wiring to find the root of the problem.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
It's not just knowing the equipment. It's about having that analytical mind
Yeah.
to like diagnose issues and come up with solutions.
Absolutely.
And what about the physical demands? I
Mhm.
imagine you need to be pretty strong to be like lugging around equipment all day.
Strength definitely helps.
Yeah.
But agility is just as important. You're working in cramped spaces, climbing ladders, maneuvering heavy components. You need to be comfortable in those environments and be able to work safely and efficiently.
So a good dose of spatial awareness and maybe a yoga class or two wouldn't hurt either.
Definitely not. And beyond just the physical, you need mental stamina too.
Oh, yeah.
Some problems take time to diagnose, and you might spend hours, even days, troubleshooting a complex system before you even find a solution.
It sounds like you need the patience of a saint, the mind of a detective, and the agility of, well, someone who can fit into really tight spaces. But seriously, what about the technical side of things?
Yeah.
What kind of knowledge do you need to have to even begin tackling these systems?
That is where the real learning curve is. Think HVAC systems, refrigeration cycles, industrial heating electrical systems. It's a lot to know.
Yeah.
You need to understand how they work individually, but then also how they interact with each other.
So it's not just about fixing the one broken part.
Right.
It's understanding how that one faulty valve might affect the entire system.
You got it.
Yeah.
It's about having that holistic view and being able to systematically diagnose those problems.
Yeah.
And we can't forget about the ever-changing landscape of safety regulations.
Oh, right.
Those are so crucial.
Yeah, one wrong move and boom.
Exactly.
The guide mentions apprenticeships as a common entry point. Is that the typical path to becoming a heating and ventilation service engineer?
It's one of the most common, and for good reason. Apprenticeships provide that really invaluable combination of on-the-job training
Right.
and classroom learning. So
Right.
you're not just reading about HVAC systems. You're getting your hands dirty. You're learning from experienced professionals. And you're building a very strong foundation from the ground up.
So it's that learning by doing, which makes a lot of sense. It's such a hands-on field.
Yeah.
But what about somebody who prefers like a more traditional academic route? Are there degree programs for this kind of work?
Absolutely. Many community colleges and technical schools offer associate degrees or certificate programs in HVAC technology. These programs can provide a really strong theoretical foundation, covering everything from thermodynamics to blueprint reading,
Wow.
which complement the practical skills gained through apprenticeships or on-the-job training.
So multiple paths to the same goal.
Exactly.
It's about finding the learning style that suits you best.
Right.
But regardless of which route you choose, one of the things for sure, this is not a field where you ever stop learning.
You got it. Technology is constantly evolving, new equipment's coming out, regulations change. Being adaptable and having a thirst for knowledge is crucial for staying ahead of the curve.
It's like having an evolving skill set,
Yeah,
which keeps things interesting, right?
exactly. You're always learning. You're always challenged. And that's part of what makes this career so rewarding. Plus, you get bragging rights for understanding the inner workings of these giant systems
Yeah.
that most people just take for granted.
Okay, that's pretty cool. So we've covered the hands-on nature of the job, the importance of problem solving, and the continuous learning involved. But what about landing that first job?
Right.
The job market can be tough.
It can.
So what advice does the RoleCatcher Guide offer to help aspiring engineers stand out?
Well, remember how we talked about those safety regulations being so important?
Yeah, one wrong move and
Exactly. The guide really emphasizes certifications,
okay.
like EPA Section 608, which covers refrigerant handling. That's not just a box to tick on your resume.
Right.
It shows employers that you're serious about safety,
Mm.
and you have the knowledge to handle potentially hazardous materials responsibly.
So it's a way to differentiate yourself from the competition and demonstrate your commitment to those ethical practices.
Precisely.
Yeah.
It's like a stamp of approval, saying this person knows their stuff and takes safety very seriously.
That's huge, especially in a field where safety is paramount. But certifications aside, what about the actual application process? What does the guide say about crafting a killer resume and acing that interview?
Well, it turns out robots are taking over.
Robots? Wait, are we talking about like actual robots installing HVAC systems now?
Not quite yet, although that day may come sooner than we think. I'm talking about AI-powered recruitment tools.
Oh.
The guide says more and more companies are using algorithms to scan resumes and identify those promising candidates.
So it's not enough to just have the skills. You need to make sure your resume speaks the right language
All right.
for these algorithms to pick up on.
Exactly. The guide calls IF resume optimization.
Okay.
You need to tailor your resume to each job description, highlighting those specific keywords and skills that these algorithms are looking for. It's not about stuffing your resume with jargon. It's about demonstrating that you've actually paid attention to the job requirements and that you can articulate your experience in a way that resonates with both humans and machines.
Wow, that's a whole other level of strategy.
It is.
It's like playing a game of chess with your resume. So you've managed to impress the robots. Your resume makes it through that digital gauntlet, and you land an interview. What then?
Time to brush up on those interview skills.
Yeah.
The guide emphasizes the importance of showcasing both your technical abilities and your soft skills.
Soft skills meaning?
Things like communication,
Okay.
problem-solving teamwork, the ability to work independently. You might be amazing with a wrench, but can you clearly explain a complex technical concept to a client who has zero HVAC background?
Right, because at the end of the day, it's more than just the technical stuff.
It is.
It's about people skills, too.
Exactly. The guide highlights the importance of being able to articulate your thought process,
Right.
explain how you approach problem solving, and demonstrate your ability to effectively work in a team environment.
So you need to be able to talk the talk
Yes.
and walk the walk.
Yes, you do.
What kind of specific interview questions should someone expect for a heating and ventilation service engineer role?
Well, they're going to want to hear about your experience with different types of HVAC systems, of course, how you go about diagnosing and repairing them, how you stay up to date on any industry changes. Be prepared to discuss specific projects that you've worked on, challenges that you've overcome, and what you learned from those experiences.
It's all about showcasing that expertise and passion for the field.
Exactly. And don't forget about those soft skills that we talked about. They might ask about a time that you had to deal with a difficult client,
Oh, yeah.
how you handle stressful situations,
Yeah.
or how you approach teamwork. Remember, they're not just looking for someone who can fix a broken furnace.
Right.
They're looking for someone who can be a valuable asset to their team and represent their company professionally.
It's about the whole package.
It
You need
is.
those technical skills, communication skills,
Yep.
the problem-solving abilities, and the ability to stay calm under pressure.
That's right.
That's a lot to juggle.
It is.
But it sounds like the rewards of this career might just outweigh the challenges.
I think you're right. It's a challenging field, no doubt,
Right.
but it's also incredibly rewarding.
And speaking of rewards, let's talk about the financial side of things.
Okay.
The guide mentions competitive salary as a major pro of this career path. But what does that actually translate to in real-world terms? What can someone realistically expect to earn as a heating and ventilation service engineer?
Well, like most careers, salary can depend on a variety of factors,
Yeah.
such as your experience level,
Right.
location certifications, and the type of employer.
Right. Someone working in like a bustling city center for a large corporation is probably making more than someone just starting out in a more rural area. But what about like the average?
Sure. So, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the median annual salary for heating, air conditioning, and refrigeration mechanics and installers was around $50,590 in 2022. Now, keep in mind, that's just the median.
Meaning there's definitely room to earn more
Yes.
as you gain experience and expertise.
Exactly. And those figures don't even include any potential overtime pay,
Right.
which can actually be significant in this field,
Yeah.
especially for those who are willing to work evenings and weekends.
Because let's face it, HVAC emergencies
Right.
rarely happen during like regular business hours.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
if you're willing to be flexible and put in that extra work, there's real potential to earn a very comfortable living.
So while the salary might start at a decent baseline, there's a clear upward trajectory for those who are driven and ambitious.
Absolutely. And it's not just about the money.
Right.
This is a career with a lot of other perks too, like job security.
Oh, it's a big one,
It is.
especially in today's economy.
Right. The demand for skilled HVAC technicians and engineers is only going to increase as buildings become more complex and the focus on energy efficiency grows. So if you're looking for a career with stability and growth potential, this is definitely a field to consider.
It's like investing in a future-proof skill set.
Exactly. And let's not forget about the potential for career advancement.
Right, you don't have to be a heating and ventilation service engineer forever. There's room to climb that ladder.
Absolutely. The guide outlines a clear career progression from junior engineer to senior engineer and even into management or specialized roles.
So you could start by assisting with installations, learning the ropes from more experienced engineers, and eventually work your way up to leading projects, designing systems, or even running your own HVAC company.
Exactly. It's all about building your skills, gaining that experience, and finding your niche.
It's like leveling up in a video game. Speaking of leveling up, the guide mentions something called continuous professional development. What exactly does that entail in the world of HVAC?
Think of it as constantly sharpening your saw. Even after you've landed that job, the learning doesn't stop. Attending industry conferences, taking specialized courses, staying up to date on the latest technologies and regulations, it's all part of it.
So it's about staying ahead of the curve, constantly expanding that knowledge base and skill set.
It's exactly.
Yeah.
The HVAC industry is dynamic. And those who embrace lifelong learning will be the ones who thrive.
It's about being adaptable, curious, and always willing to learn something new.
That's right.
That's great advice for any career, really.
It is.
But it seems especially crucial in a field as hands-on and ever-evolving as HVAC.
Absolutely. And who knows, maybe one day you'll be the one teaching those courses, sharing your expertise, and inspiring the next generation of heating and ventilation service engineers.
Now, wouldn't that be something? From fixing thermostats to shaping the future of the
The
industry.
possibilities are endless.
From fixing thermostats to shaping the future of the industry, that's awesome.
It is.
But let's be real for a second. The guide also mentions potential for self-employment as like a major plus.
Yeah,
But not everybody's cut out to be their own boss, right?
that's true.
So what does that realistically look like in the HVAC world?
You're right, not everyone thrives in that entrepreneurial world. But for those with the drive and the business acumen, the HVAC field offers incredible potential. Imagine this. You've honed your skills. You've built a solid reputation.
Yeah.
And now you're calling the shots. You're building your own client base, setting your own hours.
Yeah.
And you're seeing the direct results of your hard work.
That sounds both liberating and terrifying at the same time.
What's the startup scene like for HEC businesses? Is it super competitive or is there like a lot of demand out there?
The demand for skilled HVAC technicians is consistently high, which is excellent news for those aspiring entrepreneurs. People will always need heating, ventilation, and air conditioning, no matter what the economic climate is.
Right.
Of course, like any business venture, it requires really careful planning, marketing savvy, and a real knack for managing those finances.
So you need to be more than just an HVAC expert. You need to be a business person too. What are some like unique challenges that HVAC business owners face compared to other industries?
One major challenge is seasonality. The demand for HVAC services tends to spike during the hottest and coldest months, which means that income can be kind of inconsistent, especially when you're first starting out. That makes sense. So you'd have to be really smart about managing your finances during those slower periods to like weather the storm, so to speak. But what about those peak seasons? Does the workload ever get overwhelming for like an independent HVAC technician?
Absolutely. Long hours, weekend work, emergency calls.
Yeah.
Those are all part of the job,
Okay.
especially during those peak seasons. You might be juggling multiple clients, dealing with unexpected breakdowns, working around the clock to keep everyone cool in the summer and warm in the winter.
Wow. It sounds like you need to have serious stamina
Yeah.
and dedication to make it as an HVAC entrepreneur. But the rewards of being your own boss, setting your own schedule,
Yeah.
building something from the ground up, it's going to be incredibly fulfilling.
Oh, they are. And let's not forget about the financial upside. As an HVAC business owner, your earning potential is directly tied to your hard work, your expertise, and the growth of your business.
So while the Bureau of Labor Statistics gives us those like median salary figures, those are really just a starting point for someone venturing out on their own.
Precisely. As an entrepreneur, you have the potential to earn significantly more, especially as you establish your reputation, build a loyal client base, and potentially even expand into specialized areas like geothermal heating or commercial HVAC systems.
It's like the sky's the limit
It is.
if you're willing to put in the effort. But speaking of effort, let's kind of shift gears for a moment and address like the elephant in the room, the not so glamorous aspects of this career path. We've talked about the physical demands, the irregular hours, the constant need for learning. What else does the guide highlight as like potential downsides or challenges that someone considering this field should be aware of?
One thing that often surprises people is just the sheer unpredictability of the job.
Unpredictable in what way?
Well, you might start your day thinking you're going in to replace a faulty thermostat and then uncover a whole other issue, like a refrigerant leak or a wiring problem.
Right, so you really do have to be adaptable, resourceful,
Yes.
ready to think on your feet.
Exactly. And you need to be comfortable working in less than ideal conditions. We're talking about cramped attics, dusty crawl spaces, scorching rooftops in the middle of summer. You name it, you might find yourself working in it.
Definitely not a job for the faint of heart, or those with a fear of spiders, for that matter. But on a more serious note, what about safety concerns? We've talked about the importance of like certifications and regulations, but what are some specific risks that HVAC technicians and engineers face on a daily basis?
Well, you're dealing with heavy equipment, electrical systems heights, sometimes even hazardous materials like refrigerants. Safety is absolutely paramount in this line of work.
So what are some like essential safety precautions that every HVAC professional should live by?
The number one rule is to never ever work on an electrical system without properly de-energizing it first. And I'm not just talking about flipping a switch. I'm talking about following lockout-dagout procedures to ensure that that circuit is completely dead before you even touch a wire.
Right.
One wrong move of electricity can be fatal.
Absolutely. What about working with refrigerants? Those are dangerous if not handled correctly, right?
Absolutely. Some refrigerants are toxic or flammable,
Oh.
and even those considered less hazardous still require really careful handling and disposal.
Right.
That's why the EPA Section 608 certification is so crucial. It's not just about protecting yourself, it's about protecting the environment too.
Right. So it's about understanding the risks following proper procedures and never ever cutting corners when it comes to safety.
Exactly. And that goes for everything, from wearing the appropriate personal protective equipment, your hard hat, your safety glasses, your gloves, to being constantly aware of your surroundings
Mm-hmm.
and any potential hazards.
It's about having that safety first mindset always. But shifting gears to a slightly lighter topic, the guide mentions that every day is different in this line of work.
Yeah.
So what does that actually look like in practice? Can you walk us through like a typical day in the life of a heating and ventilation service engineer?
Well, there is no such thing as a typical day. which is part of what makes it so interesting. You might start your day at a construction site, installing HVAC systems in a brand new office building.
So you're part of that initial setup, ensuring that the building has proper heating and ventilation from the get-go.
Precisely. Then you might get called to a manufacturing plant that's experiencing problems with their ventilation system.
And I'm guessing those problems don't always announce themselves very politely.
Definitely not. You might be dealing with production lines grinding to a halt, temperatures soaring, workers uncomfortable. It's all about staying calm under pressure, diagnosing that issue quickly, and implementing a solution to get things up and running again.
So you need to be like a problem solver, a diplomat, and a little bit of a magician, all rolled into one.
That's a great way to put it. And just when you think you've seen it all, you encounter a problem you've never seen before, which keeps things interesting. One day you might be replacing a faulty motor. The next you might be recalibrating a complex control system or troubleshooting a refrigerant leak.
It sounds like you need to have like a thirst for knowledge and a love of problem solving to really thrive in this field.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And a good sense of humor doesn't hurt either, especially when you're crawling through a dusty attic in the middle of summer. But on a more serious note, one of the most rewarding aspects of this job is that tangible impact you have on people's lives.
In what way?
You're not just fixing machines. You're creating comfortable, healthy, and safe environments for people to live, work, and play in.
Yeah.
Whether it's ensuring a hospital operating room has proper ventilation or fixing a family's furnace on a freezing winter night, you're making a real difference.
That's a really powerful feeling, knowing that your work has that direct impact on people's well-being.
Yeah.
But beyond like the immediate satisfaction of fixing a problem, what about the long-term career prospects in this field? We've talked about the potential for like advancement into management or entrepreneurship, but what other opportunities are out there for heating and ventilation service engineers?
Specialization is a great way to carve out your niche and really increase that earning potential.
What kind of specializations are we talking about?
As buildings become more technologically advanced, there's a growing demand for HVAC technicians and engineers who specialize in building automation systems, or BAS. These systems control and monitor a building's HVAC, lighting, security, and other systems from a central location, optimizing energy efficiency and comfort.
So it's like being the conductor of an orchestra, ensuring that all these different systems are working together.
Exactly. And then you have specializations in areas like geothermal heating and cooling, which is becoming increasingly popular as people look for more sustainable and energy-efficient HVAC solutions.
That's fascinating. It seems like the HVAC industry is at the forefront of some really exciting technological advancements.
It absolutely is. And for those who are really passionate about sustainability and making a positive impact on the environment, this field offers incredible opportunities to be a part of that movement.
That's a really inspiring thought. So we've covered a lot of ground about the good, the challenging, the potentially life-altering, in a good way. But before we dive into the future of this dynamic field, is there anything else that the RoleCatcher Guide highlights as like essential information for someone considering this career path?
Yes, actually. They touch on something really important, and it ties back to what we were discussing about lifelong learning and continuous professional development.
Okay, I'm all ears. What is it?
It's the idea of finding your tribe, so to speak, connecting with other HVAC professionals, whether it's through industry organizations, online forums, or even just informal meetups. It can be incredibly valuable.
Valuable in what way? Why is networking so important in this field?
Well, for starters, it's a great way to stay up to date on industry trends, new technologies, and job opportunities. But beyond that, it's about finding a community of like-minded individuals who understand the challenges and rewards of this unique career path.
So it's about having that support system, those mentors, even those friendly rivals that push you to be better.
Exactly. And don't underestimate the power of mentorship, especially early in your career. Finding someone who's been there, done that, and is willing to share their knowledge and experience can be absolutely invaluable.
It's like having a guide on your HVAC journey. Someone to help you navigate those ups and downs and celebrate the wins along the way.
Exactly. And who knows, maybe one day you'll be that mentor,
Paying him
forward and inspiring the next generation of HVAC professionals.
It's all about building that community, sharing that knowledge, and lifting each other up. Now that's a concept I can get behind. Building that community and sharing knowledge and paying it forward. I love that. It's like you're not just choosing a career, you're joining a whole network of like passionate, problem-solving, duct wrangling heroes. But speaking of heroes, let's talk about the future.
Yeah.
What does the landscape look like for heating and ventilation service engineers? Any crystal ball predictions from the RoleCatcher guide?
They actually dedicate a whole section to the future of the field, and it's pretty exciting.
What?
Think smart buildings, artificial intelligence, and a whole new level of sustainability.
Okay, color me intrigued. Let's break it down. What do they say about smart buildings?
Imagine a building that essentially breathes, adjusting its own heating, ventilation, and cooling based on real-time data. Sensors that track occupancy temperature fluctuations, even the weather outside. And the HVAC system automatically adjusts to maintain optimal comfort and energy efficiency.
So no more battling over the thermostat.
Exactly. But it's not just about comfort. These systems can actually analyze data to identify potential problems before they even occur.
Wow.
Imagine a sensor that detects like a slight drop in pressure in a refrigerant line. It could signal a potential leak, and the system could alert the building manager to schedule preventative maintenance.
That's incredible. It's like having a built-in early warning system for the entire building's HVAC. What about AI? What's AI's role in all of this?
AI takes things a step further. Imagine an AI system that not only monitors the HVAC system, but actually learns from its performance over time. It can identify patterns, optimize settings, and even predict future maintenance needs with incredible accuracy.
So it's like having an invisible HVAC expert working behind the scenes 24/7, just constantly like fine-tuning and improving the system.
Precisely. And that level of sophistication is already being implemented in some buildings. As AI technology advances, we can expect even more intelligent, responsive, and efficient HVAC systems in the future.
That's both impressive and a little bit intimidating. What does this mean for someone who's like entering the HVAC field today? Will they need to be like AI programmers as well as technicians?
Well, a basic understanding of AI and automation will definitely be beneficial. It's not about becoming a programmer. It's about being adaptable, tech-savvy, and open to learning new skills.
Okay.
The core principles of HVAC, thermodynamics, fluid mechanics, control systems, those will always be relevant. But how those principles are applied, that's what's going to continue to evolve.
So it's about having that solid foundation,
Yeah.
but also being willing to embrace new technology and adapt to that changing landscape.
Exactly. And that's where those continuous professional development opportunities that we talked about become so crucial. Attending workshops on the latest AI applications in HVAC, learning how to integrate smart thermostats and sensors, understanding the nuances of building automation systems. These are the skills that are going to set future HVAC professionals apart.
It's like future-proofing your skill set, ensuring that you're ready to tackle whatever challenges or opportunities the HVAC world might throw your way.
Precisely. And speaking of opportunities, let's not forget about the growing focus on sustainability.
Right. The RoleCatcher guide mentioned a green wave sweeping the HVAC industry. What does that actually look like in practice?
It's about moving away from those traditional energy-intensive HVAC systems and moving towards more sustainable solutions. Think geothermal heating and cooling, solar-powered systems, and innovative ventilation techniques that utilize natural airflow and minimize energy consumption.
So HVAC isn't just about keeping people comfortable anymore. It's about doing it in a way that's environmentally responsible too.
Exactly. And this shift towards sustainability is creating this huge surge in demand for HVAC technicians and engineers who specialize in these emerging technologies.
So it's a win-win. You're doing work that's both personally fulfilling and good for the planet.
Exactly. And that's something that really resonates. With the next generation of HVAC professionals, they're not just looking for a job. They're looking for a career with a purpose.
Yeah.
A career that allows them to use their skills to make a positive impact on the world.
That's awesome. So to wrap things up, what's the one key takeaway you want our listeners to leave with?
The world of HVAC is dynamic. It's challenging. And it's incredibly rewarding. If you're someone who enjoys problem solving, working with your hands, and embracing new technologies, then this could be the perfect career path for you. The future is bright for those who are willing to put in the work, never stop learning, and join this really incredible community of skilled professionals.
I love that. Thank you so much for taking us on this deep dive. I think I might even be ready to install my own thermostat now.
I wouldn't recommend it, but hey, a little knowledge never hurt anyone.
Yeah. That's true. And to our listeners, we hope this deep dive has sparked your curiosity and given you plenty to think about. No matter where you are in your career journey, there's always something new to learn and new and exciting opportunities to explore in the ever-evolving world of HVAC